windows too. Hey, good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. How's everybody doing? I hope you up and at it. Up and at it. All right. Thanks for jumping on. So I'm going to go ahead and jump in this morning and get started. Y'all know I love to pray. So we're going to do that first. So Father, we bless you. We thank you. We honor you, God. We thank you for this July 2022. We thank you, Lord, that you have positioned us and you have postured us for much success. I thank you for supernatural expansion and increase of territory. I thank you for revelation, knowledge, understanding, word of wisdom, word of knowledge. I thank you for wealth strategies. I thank you for the heart to take risk, the heart to move out. I thank you for discernment and accuracy and precision in our decision making where our money is concerned. I thank you for the spirit of stewardship. I thank you for financial management. I thank you for financial development. I thank you, Lord, for great wealth is upon us now. I thank you, Lord, that all that we put our hands to shall prosper and be of good success. Now, Lord, I thank you that we have ears to hear what the Spirit of the Lord has to say, and we are blessed in Jesus' name. Amen. All right. Hey, Chris. Hey, Angela. Excited to have you guys on this morning. So we are going to be talking about the state of the economy and kind of what's happening across the board and what you should be doing. Really, what you should be doing, because this is not the time to just be moving in fear, talking about how tight things are, how bad things are. This is a time to be asking questions. Hey, what are the wealthy doing? What should I be doing with my money? How should I be thinking about my money? And definitely one of the main things you should be thinking about is multiplication of your money, right? Multiplication of your money. That's one of the sole things that the wealthy do, is they make sure that they put their money into vehicles that are multiplying and growing. And that's exactly what I want to make sure that you guys are doing and ready to do, and understand what moves you need to make, because there's definitely moves that need to be made. I believe right now that within the next 2 years, we're going to see the greatest wealth transfer. I think it's already happening right now. And I think that how you move, the decisions you make, the people you connect with are vitally important, because the law of association is real, right? You're pretty much going to be within 10% of income. So if you're hanging out with people that are making right around 10M, you probably are going to be somewhere between 8 and 12. That's just real, right? If you, Dre Lavelle, what's up, bro? If you are hanging out with people that are making, $1 million on average, then you're probably going to be making somewhere between 500,000 and 1.2 million. So the law of association right now, I think, is now more important than ever. And you can never expect to master something that you don't study. So you have to make up in your mind that I'm going to become a studier of money. I'm going to become a studier of the markets. It's not just about what happened in January 2022, but it's what's happening ongoing, Demetrius, right? Because it's always changing. So I see my billionaire, yes, brother, on here right now, Curtis Cobain, who I am so proud of. What's up? How you doing?
What's going on, family?
King in the building. Yes.
Let's get it.
You're such a testament. You're such a testament of the possibilities that can happen when you make up in your mind. It trips me out every time I see you, every time I hear you. For those of you that don't know, we just brought Curtis Cobain on right now to the platform. But every time I see you and hear you, we both 313. What's up, Detroit in the building? But it trips me out that you literally had a very hard life financially. And now, all the revelation, all the knowledge. I just have to ask you really quickly. We're going to go into your story real quick, and then we're going to talk about the state of the economy. So tell us a little bit about your background, because there are a lot of people on here who probably don't know who Kurt is. So let us know a little bit about your background and how you got to where you at.
So born and raised Detroit, Michigan. And being, I know I got on Seattle gear right now. Just, bear with me. I got to be out there soon, so I'm trying to make friends. But, right. But it's honestly just a blessing, man. People always say, when you're from Detroit, like, oh man, if you from the D, everywhere you go, they love you. Everywhere you go, they're gonna vibe with you. Like I can agree with that, because everywhere I've been, people, Lamont, son from Detroit, they all, oh man, dude, I got a cousin, I got an auntie, so everybody got roots from somewhere in Detroit. But living here my whole life, I've learned so much about the streets, about carrying myself a certain way, about certain times, you go through things that are difficult, but it's not gonna last forever. And that's one thing about Detroit people. Like, we know tough times don't always last, so it makes us tougher in the progress of it all. And I'm a sports person, so I had a scholarship to play basketball at a local college. And back in 2005, I got shot in the face, bullet went right through my orbital bone, tore it wide open, lost the feeling on the right side of my face. Till this day, still can't feel half of my face. And it really was one of the most depressing times of my life. My mom was going through it. I'm going through it. We trying to figure this stuff out. And I'm thinking to myself, man, I gotta figure something out. I gotta use my mind the way I used my body. Like, I was a beast at basketball, but I was always a cerebral player. I would like pay attention to the plays, the defense, what was going on, the schemes of the other team. So I kept telling myself, I gotta figure this stuff out. So I got a little interested in Forex trading. I got excited about it. I started looking into it, and I was making money, losing money, making money, losing money. And I asked God, I'm like, I need a coach. I need somebody to show, because I'm a sports guy. I need a coach. So how convenient. I get on Facebook one day, I see a flyer downtown off of Jefferson. We're having this big meet, or IML's having this big meeting, and Lawrence and Tamara Young, shout out to Lawrence and Tam, we're having a big meeting, and Jewel Tankard's doing the presentation. I'm like, all right, I guess I'm gonna go. So I end up inboxing Tamara. I go to the meeting. I get there, and I see Jewel in the front. I always tell this story. Jewel's in the front. She was on 11, and the knob only went to 10. So she was in the front. The financial wealth transfer is on the way. I'm like, oh, she not playing. She's serious. And so as she's telling her story and her testimony, and I Google, in Detroit, we Google everybody. I Google her. I couldn't get Jewel to. As soon as I got to the T, bam, everything pop up. Oil wells, multi, boom, Millionaires Club. And I'm like, TV show on Bravo. I'm like, wait a minute. Wait, is she from Detroit? I've never met this one. Nope, it's a wrap. I was sold. So, joining IM is probably one of the best decisions I've ever made. This opportunity has changed my life. I've met so many amazing people. And I tell everybody, I was rich by association before anything showed up monetarily. So people always say, you in a room with 4 millionaires, you're going to be the 5th. It just so happened to work out like that. So I'm just going to say, when you guys have an opportunity to get around people that have the answer, that have gone through the things that you're going through and come out the other side, just be humble. Listen to what they're telling you and just do it. Like, don't back and forth like you got the secret sauce. They've gone through doors that you haven't even seen, even known existed. So just take the teaching and run with it. So for me, I'm just a student right now. I'm thankful. I'm grateful. I'm humbled every time I get a chance to do what I do. It's definitely been a beautiful, beautiful situation. Oh, I will say this too. For people that are on the outside looking in, you may be a little apprehensive because I know money's tight right now. Like, man, I ain't got time to be trying to get, taught how to do this stuff. Now is the best time to invest in you. If you've never been a part of a recession or a potential depression, like, you definitely want to have the answers to navigate this kind of stuff, because if you don't, it's going to hit you way harder when you're not educated.
Yeah. No, it's going to hit you way harder. That's the whole word. And I love every time you tell your story. It's not like you grew up looking at charts, not even really knowing that this whole situation existed, and even with me, like, I didn't grow up with charts. I didn't know 10 years ago, I knew that there was like Forex, but I understood absolutely nothing about it. Right. 10 years ago, I absolutely knew nothing about cryptocurrency, nothing. So the possibility, Kurt, like you said, is real. Now's the best time, because if you don't invest on yourself and you don't prepare yourself, then the wealth transfer is going to go by, and you're going to be unfortunately put in situations where your livelihood is impacted. And that's one of my things that I want people to know. Like, you don't have to settle with, your current lifestyle, even if it's good. Like, it's levels to it. It's more to it. And one thing I've learned about educating myself on money, which I'm looking forward to taking notes with Kurt talking today too. Like, this is an ongoing thing. It's not like, oh, you get to a level and you're done. No, there's always things that you can learn, especially from people that off up in that thing. And I know Kurt is a researcher, and you guys have an opportunity to connect with the person that invited you on here and say, hey, you know what, I need to get with this Wealth Squad right here. I need to be all on this. So right now we got a lot of crazy things happening in the economy, right? Every asset class is pretty much kind of taking, a beating. And so a lot of times when people see that in asset classes, whether it's NASDAQ, S&P 500, crypto, real estate, they get scared and they're like, oh my gosh. But that just means that everything is on sale, right? So we got to kind of change the way our paradigm to get out of fear. When there's a lot of fear, there's also a lot of opportunity. So let's talk about, I know the Feds are talking about raising interest rates again. So interest rates are being raised. Talk a little bit about what's happening right now, because I want to make sure that people really know that this is huge opportunity time.
Oh yeah. So when you guys are hearing about the Fed potentially raising interest rates and things like that, it's basically because inflation is really just it's in overdrive right now. Like when some of y'all, when y'all was getting y'all stimmies, y'all was out here getting them stimulus checks. Y'all didn't understand that those chickens were gonna come home to roost one day, because we all know, especially folks from the D, ain't nothing free. So when everybody was getting all of that free money, we realized that, okay, something's going to have to, come from this. And we just put too much money into the system. Not to mention a lot of PPP loans. I ain't gonna put no elbows at nobody that was getting them. So when you understand that all this money came flooding into the system, now, as we know, supply and demand, when there's too much of something, right, it becomes less valuable. So now now that there's more money in the system, it's less valuable. So things like they cost more, but it's just simply the fact that there's too much money flowing. So now they're taking money out of the system by raising inflation or raising interest rates. So now interest rates allow them to actually have more money coming back instead of going out. And on the other side, they're not doing a lot of their buybacks when it comes to bonds and different things like that. So it's basically taking less money out of the system. So the funny thing is, a dollar on the charts, if you ever look at the dollar index, it looks like it's just sky high. The dollar is so strong right now. It's really a scenario of other nations are still printing money and we're not. That's it. America's not better than anybody. We're not stronger. Our economy isn't healthier than anybody else's. We're just not printing. So it's like everybody's house is on fire. Let's not get it mistaken. Ours is just less burned. All right. So I need people to know, like, oh man, the dollar's doing great. Nah, it's a lot on the way. But with this happening, this is one of those scenarios where a person who doesn't understand it is being taught to be afraid of it. Everything in the news is, hide your kids, hide your wife, inflation's coming, hide your kids. We got, interest rates are going up. And it's like, well, because most folks, they don't understand it, but they know to be afraid because the news is telling you to be afraid.
Right.
And that's the part for me where I'm like, yeah, I need to look deeper into that and see how the millionaires and billionaires made money during the last recession. And when you realize cash becomes king, one of the reasons why we see the dollar getting higher is people aren't investing. People aren't getting into other assets. So they're hoarding their cash, waiting for cash to become overvalued. This is one of the first times in human history the US dollar is worth more than the euro. Like that's never happened. Right? So yeah, it's getting wild out here. Like Chris Terry was talking about it at the event. He was like, dude, I don't know where this dollar's gonna go, but I know it's going completely past, projection levels for a lot of different analysts. So now that we see the dollar getting pretty high, the big thing is for people that are on the street, people that are working a job, people that are every day out here earning a wage, you have to know now is the time that you're going to want to reinvent yourself. And I mean, like really getting into investing, getting into trading, getting into asset building, getting into really getting residual income. Because if you're simply thinking, I'm just going to work a job, and if it get harder, I'm going to get another job. Listen, Apple just stopped hiring people. The biggest company just stopped hiring people. Amazon is already laying people off.
Coinbase,
all these big entities that make a lot of money are saying we can't afford to keep paying people. So when you say I'm gonna get second job, third job, where's it gonna come from? You got another planet you can work on, because this one ain't doing it.
Listen, Kurt, I really feel like it's the innovators, those that innovate, yourself, myself, other people that innovate, are willing to create, are willing to blaze trails. We're going to end up hiring some of those people, because that traditional, like, big business model, I think it's being greatly challenged. And I think this economic disruption gives a lot of leeway and opportunity. Like we said, it's not the time to just sit back and say, okay, I'm gonna watch Netflix all day, or I'm gonna sit back and chill, or let me go down and see what I can get from the government. Let's see what kind of, like you said, what kind of stimuli are they gonna create now to try to help me out? A brother needs some help, a sister needs some help. You better help yourself. And you help yourself by educating yourself and finding out, okay, what's the next play? What's the next move? Because it's always another play. It's always another move. And so, like you said, we see on the 27th, it's going to be real interesting to see if and you can also share your screen if it's anything you want to share. But it's going to be really interesting to see if indeed the Feds raise rates again, which all that's going to do is drive price down. Because I mean, are you thinking that it's probably hard to tell if Bitcoin and Ethereum are going to take another dive, or what are you kind of thinking?
So I'm looking at a lot of the things right now that are happening in the economy. We're looking at this as well. Like U.S. inflation hits 40-year high. This is not one of those things that's just a passing fade. And I want to kind of double back to what you were just saying, that the people who are coming into this now, like, you want to start really getting around the people that have the answers, that have, accumulated wealth, and they know the next moves to make because they're plugged in. Like, it's not a game of I got to have a lot of money to make it through. I have to be smart with my money to make it through. And the other thing that I've noticed too, and this is just me kind of doing my own analysis, is the people that really, really thrived during a recession are the ones that really got into communities, right? You think about the 1930s, people who were starving started creating what? Gardens together. They were working together as a community to build things up to allow everybody to have an opportunity to thrive, and not just themselves, because they realize it takes a village. So it's the same thing when it comes to your finances. A lot of times we may not be pooling our money with certain things, but we're still taking that knowledge and utilizing it in a community. And I think that's the biggest thing, is making sure your community is growth focused, knowledge focused, and making sure that everything is done in the right context and in the right intentions too. So definitely, like, a community, like, you can't make it through something like this being siloed off to yourself in the corner saying, I'm gonna figure it out alone. Like, all right, you about to dig yourself a whole hole. If the first way to get out the hole is what? Put down the shovel. Right?
Listen.
So it's different thinking time. You got to start using different thinking to get a different result. But seeing the climate where we're in right now, like, I was looking at this the other day, like, there are actually bank runs happening in China. If people, you don't know what this is basically when everybody goes to the bank at the same time and tries to withdraw their money together. Like, that doesn't work. Like, fractional reserve lending is a real thing. The banks only have so much money to give you. Legally, they only need to have like 10%, I think less now, with fractional reserve lending. So you gotta know, like, this is literally a sign of the times. Have you heard about what's going on in Sri Lanka?
No.
Oh my God.
Do tell.
You're so sad. So Sri Lanka was one of the emerging economies. Everybody was excited. They were betting on Sri Lanka. The industry was getting bigger. It was looking to compete with India. Sri Lanka had a coffer of well over $7 billion for that island nation. It was huge for that country. And all of a sudden, they started over leveraging, and then COVID hit, and then their tourism dried up because they're kind of comical, not really, but comical. Their main tourists were Russians and Ukrainians. Yeah, that exactly. So when COVID hit and then the war hit, they never got a chance to recover. And now their coffers went from 7 billion to 50 million for the entire nation. LeBron makes more than that in one quarter. Okay, like that's and mind you, the president had to flee the country. He hopped on a helicopter and left. They raided his mansion. It was crazy. They had the whole nation had a pool party at this man's house. It was like 4,000 people running through this mansion, like going. It was wild. You can look it up. It's one of the wildest things I've ever seen. But this is the sign of the times. Like, these nations are going through it. These countries are going through it, and they're all looking for ways to get out of it. And now they're trying to get more loans from the IMF to recover. And the IMF's telling them, you guys are going to have to raise the cost of living. Like, the inflation is going to have to go up here in Sri Lanka. They're already struggling, and now they're going to put people in the poorhouse just to try to recover. It's a scary thing right now.
So this happened within the last 30 days?
Yeah, this happening still right now. It's crazy over there. Like, I saw that and it blew my mind. Like, Mike brought it up during one of the sessions.
Okay, you have to send me a link on that so I can just.
Yeah, I don't want to pull it up on the talk. Some people that are from there, and it makes them feel a little when you show them. So I try to be very, very cautious of what I'm doing when I'm talking about it, but it is definitely scary to see that, to say the least. And then you look at things that are happening right now with the Fed. We're going to have another interest rate hike at the end of the month. This is going to happen the 27th. They're going to raise interest rates. So now we know on the 27th, the Fed's going to have that meeting. Interest rates are going to go higher. But then if we look even further, we know on the 28th, there's going to be GDP news. Now, by definition, this is going to be the second quarter that if we have a potential negative second quarter in GDP, we're by definition officially in a recession.
Got it.
So
And that'll be
really
incredibly important. Is that happening on the 27th? We'll know that
so we
well?
got the Fed news comes out the 27th.
Okay.
And then the GDP numbers come out the 28th. So it could be if we get a full point hike for the Fed. For anybody who doesn't know, the Fed basically raises interest rates in certain increments. Usually it's a basis point where it's a fraction of a point. So they've been doing like 0.5. So we don't have a full point. Recently, they did a 0.75. So that's one of the highest we've had in almost 20 years. Now the rumor is they may go a full-fledged point, which never happens. So if we get a full basis point hike and we get a negative GDP the day after, that could be just domino after domino after domino. And we could see a crazy effect from there leading on for the next 18 to 24 months. And if you don't know how to navigate it, if you're not in the right circles, if you don't even know how to utilize leverage properly right now, like, I don't know if anybody's seen that movie, The Big Short. Like, I strongly suggest watching The Big Short. They make it so simple in that movie to understand what happened and how people made it out all right. So I would say watch The Big Short, get a good understanding, and then after that, notice how it worked in The Big Short. Everybody was in a community of people that talked the language.
Right.
Nobody was siloed off. Nobody was by themselves figuring it out. They were making phone calls like, "Hey, this is what I got. Hey, I talked to this team. Hey, I talked to this bank."
Yeah.
See, I always pick up on the underlay for the overlay. Like, these people are working together to get this thing
working together. Listen, did you see Billions on Prime Amazon? It's the same deal. What's the boy name? I can't think of his name. The CEO. He's such a G. But I love it. He had what do you call him? Skags. That was his right hand man.
Yeah.
And then they had a whole team of people, and they would always be talking. What do you think? How do you see it? What's your perspective? Well, this indicator says this. That indicator says this. Well, I noticed here somebody said they were always wanting to know not just what was happening with their company, but you remember his comrade, his enemy, who they were always fighting. The guy had 2 daughters, and but the point was they were always interested in what was happening with the markets across the board. They were interested in what was happening with their competition, and they were having conversations about it. Right, Angela? That's the whole thing, Dre. Like you said, community, I think right now is more important than it has ever been. Right? Because there's so many opportunities to to be able to make a lot of money. I mean, even like right now, we're starting to see a lot of people were waiting to buy. Now, there were all these bidding wars. Now, real estate prices are coming down. Why? Because interest rates are going up. So you can see time after time after time that you're going to need the community. All right, what's this right here? Former crypto advisor.
So former crypto advisor Michael Barr confirmed as top U.S. financial watchdog. They're officially bringing this guy in as the vice president or as the vice chair of the Fed to keep an eye on Jerome Powell. To make sure he don't cut that money printer back on too soon. Right? So it's getting real interesting. Mind you, he's crypto friendly though, and he's about to be working with the Fed.
Wow.
Are you picking up on the underlay, man? Like, it's always
Yeah, well, because now the real squeeze is going to happen. If they can't keep printing money, that's about to shift everything, because that's what they did to really get us in this mess in the first place. So I actually am glad to see that this is happening.
Oh yeah, it's a beautiful thing, and I know with our boy Joe Byron, we got to make sure that we got to the right thought process. Because some people are like, oh man, he's not doing much, he's not doing it, and I agree. Like, it could be a lot more being done, but I also feel like some of this is actually intentional. Like, and I need people to understand that when the dollar goes on these big runs, and you see, like, let me go to the dollar index for you guys real quick. When you're looking at things on the dollar index, let's see, remove drawings, and boom. This is let's go to the monthly so you can really see it. This is a breakdown of a history of the US dollar. Way over here, these little green dots way over here. This is 1967. So this chart is old. And you can see this is the highest dollar's ever been. We've been doing nothing but consistently dropping lower over and over and over again when it comes to this dollar. And it seems like every time we either get to a midway point or another potential high point, we fall off again. This is one of my tools I love to use with Fibonacci. I talk about it all the time in my sessions. Low, high point to low point, 50%, 618. I love this area, this green and gold zone.
Great okay, real quick. Let me tell you real quick. Drake told us it's Bobby Axelrod. Yes.
There we go. There we go. See, that's how you know the community say we all watching the same stuff.
Oh gosh. Okay.
I love it. I love it. But yeah, like this stuff here, guys, is going to be the thing that really helps you stay ahead of the curve. And we're seeing a dollar get back to heights that it hasn't been in over 20 years. Last time we were at these levels was 2002. So wow. you have to know, like, the dollar hasn't been this overvalued since 2002, family.
Wow.
This is not normal circumstances right now.
Wow. So it's so, okay, what this tells me is that it's being propped up. It's still not backed by anything. So it's still not anything that's sustainable.
So you think about how America works. Can we agree that America is basically a business?
Absolutely.
So if we know America is a business, and it was funny too, because when Trump got in, he would say all the time, I want a weak dollar. I want a weak dollar, right? Every Republican wants the dollar to be weak. Why is that? Because some people think when they say a weak dollar, they want to hurt America. It's not how that goes. A weak dollar means that people are more interested in investing than holding on to money. Because when you hold on to money, money stops moving. When money stops moving, the value of things start to go higher, right? Mm-hmm. That's the problem. We need money to circulate. That's why we don't have a traditional system that's backed by anything. We have a currency where it's like you ever cut on the light switch. What happens? Electricity starts to do what? Flow. When you cut that light switch off, electricity doesn't flow. You have no power. So if this money isn't moving, America loses its power. This is the problem right now. Money is sitting still. So as we get back into the weak dollar phase, Republicans want that dollar to drop so they can have the stock market rising, real estate rising, any other assets rising. Democrats typically want a dollar to strengthen because they want to see people holding on to money. People holding on to money, that means they have to work harder because there's less flow. Less flow means more work. All right. So the name of the game is when Biden got in, you saw prices the dollar start to just run. When Trump got in, you saw the dollar start to drop. It's the name of the game.
It's the name of the game. And so this is why people don't like, in some cases, just from a financial standpoint, because there are political parties that are definitely more for investors and there are political parties that are more for consumers. And so that's what it ends up kind of coming down to, which is why we want everybody. Hey, sister, China's on here. Hey. But that's how we want everyone investing. We want everyone investing and not being afraid to invest and get into the community where you can actually learn how to invest so that, because a 40-year high in inflation simply means huge opportunity. What does that mean? U.S. inflation quickening the 40-year high, pressuring Feds and Biden. But then they put the watchdog on the Feds to say, y'all ain't finna just go in there and just go crazy and try to create some stimulus packages because they're trying to send Americans relief. This is why Kurt and I are on here. This is why there are other amazing leaders that are in this community, because we want to offer Americans real relief, not just Americans, but anybody globally, real relief. And real relief is not you getting a handout. Real relief is you getting educated to know what is my next move, what is my next play, so that I can make sure that I put myself in a position to become richer and richer. And that's why they said the rich get richer, the poor get poorer. It's true, because if you keep running the same play, like this is the same pattern that happened, like you said, in 2002, when there are people that got wealthy there, or people that got wealthy in 2008. But what about all the people that got hurt? I hate that. But a lot of times that just comes from lack of information, lack of education on knowing what to do. So, Kurt, what do you think is about to happen with crypto? I mean, I think it's on sale. And I think It could go to 10, right? I guess it depends on what the Feds do on the 27th and 28th. What are you thinking?
You hit it right on the head. It really does depend on what we get out of this next big news update when the Fed does their FOMC, and then we get those GDP numbers. At the moment, the dollar is just on a tear. So when we look at assets like the S&P, everything's down. We look at something like Bitcoin, everything's down. So when we understand that the dollar's pretty much running away, even if you look at gold, right, everything's down, right? There's not a lot of growth going on right now in any asset space. So if we know that everything that you put your money into that typically grows is down, it's a wait and see game. Once we get those Fed numbers, once we get those GDP numbers, then we'll have a better understanding and a better view of the landscape. We can make a more informed decision. So just so people know, like sometimes not being in a position is a position. Like sometimes you got to know as an investor, as a trader, not being in the market is the smart thing to do. Being on the sideline, waiting it out, waiting for the best opportunity, because not all movements in the market are money moves. So you got to be patient. A lot of things to pull back sometimes, get a little bit of a cushion. I honestly feel like the dollar is going to continue to go because we don't see anything that's giving us a silver lining right now. Now, I will say this, with the way that the scheduling is, I think they're going to give us either another 75 or maybe a full point. If we get a full point, it's definitely going to go wild. But August, we're not going to get anything. I think August is going to be a nice, chill, quiet time, maybe a little boring. September, I think we're going to get another ramp up again. And then, we got midterms this year. So now we got senators, we got congressmen and women about to get reelected. Hey, we're lowering interest rates. Hey, we're lowering gas prices. Get me back in office again. And it's like, come on, man. So you bleed me out the whole year. And then you give me a month of, hey, look what we did.
No, I think you're absolutely right. I think Biden knows if he doesn't do that, he'll get smashed in the midterms. I'm still not so sure that he won't get smashed. And I'm not a Biden hater. I love all presidents, Republican or depending.
All of them gonna make us money. We just got to know which lane it is.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's really important to note that. And me, honestly, I save Bitcoin and Ethereum every week. And I have for the last couple of years, up, down, highs, lows. Now trading, of course, is different, but I'm talking just pure accumulation. I accumulate silver, I accumulate gold, I accumulate real estate, especially looking at doing some deals now. I waited because obviously everything was really high.
Yeah.
But now things are definitely starting to come down 10, 20. I've even seen some come down as much as $30,000. So now it's definitely, now, of course, interest rates are higher. But there's creative financing and owner finance and all kinds of cool things that you can do to kind of get around that. But Kurt, this has been amazing. So real quick, any last words for the people?
Yeah, I'll say this. If you're new to investing, if you're new to trading, now is not the time to shy away from gathering knowledge and putting together the skill, because Jewel right now is lining everybody up. And I've been seeing you go active on Facebook way more. Like I see you back in grind mode again. I'm like, oh, sis not playing. Sis not playing. She on her move now. So I know when you do stuff like this, you got things on the back burner ready to start. Yeah, I already know how you get down. So if you have the opportunity to link up, work with, get involved, get in the circle, be in the room with, definitely take advantage of it. Like when Jewel was just at the last event and she brought Ben out. Listen, just seeing Ben got me amped, because I'm like, I know bro don't play when it comes to moving the money. So I'm like, listen, whatever he's saying, I'm like, yep, keep talking. So I will say this, family, don't take the opportunity lightly when you get a chance to work with a Jewel Tankard, a China Bethany, a Ben Tankard, a Marquita, a Camille. Like when you have the opportunity to link up with them, please do so. If they call you, you better call or text back. Because it's definitely that season where you want to be around the people that have been making moves and are going to continue making the moves. And inside of IM, all we're doing is getting bigger and better. We have another big event coming up real soon in Phoenix, which is going to be crazy. I can't wait for that one. And I want people to know that it's only going to get bigger from here, right? Yeah. And I mean on both sides of the coin. It's only going to get bigger with the way the money's getting tighter. It's only going to get bigger with the way these things are going to start to get weird in grocery stores. It's only going to get bigger how rent's going to keep getting raised up. Like everybody's still hurting and reeling from COVID, and they were going to use this next season as the come up. and they haven't slowed down with trying to come. I'm seeing people right now rent for like $1,700 in certain areas in Detroit, and I'm like, bro, you were just paying like $1,000. How is your rent $700 higher? Like, man, I got to do what I got to do right now. I'm like, that's crazy. That's crazy. But this is the name of the game. You got to know, if you don't move smart, you're going to be sitting here stressing yourself, stressing your mind, your body. And when you get into survival mode, you can't even assimilate new information. Your mind won't let you learn new things because you're so busy just trying to survive. It's how our bodies are designed. We can't learn during survival. If a bear is chasing you, you're not going to read a math book.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
When you're in survival mode, it don't work.
Right. No, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you get like it's the nature of the beast, guys. So I really want you guys to take advantage of what we have right now. Crypto is going to be in one of the best positions ever for you to start building a portfolio again. Some people feel weird because they missed the whole, the 3K run all the way to 70K. And they're like, oh man, crypto did it again and I missed it. And here you are at, garage sale prices. And you're like, well, I'll buy it back when it gets to 50. I'm like, how, Sway? Like, it's like you go to your favorite store and everything's on sale. Like, look at those Balenciaga shoes, but they're on sale. Ugh. Like, what's wrong? You just wanted them a week ago. So everybody wanted a Bitcoin and it was at 70. Nobody wants it when it's at 20.
Oh my gosh, that is so good. It's crazy because you're right, inflation. And you got to be aggressive right now because inflation is going to show up in everything. Yes. It's going to show up in food prices. I literally opened up my electric bill, and obviously we've got a large mansion here. But the thing, my electric bill, honestly, normally 300, maybe 5, 6. That bad boy was 1,500. Like, bruh, what's good off up there?
Bro, like you running Bitcoin miners in the basement. Right? Like, no.
I said, Lord, I thank you. I am prepared for such a time as this. And so don't all I can do is say prepare. Reach out to the person that invited you on here, like for real, and tell them, okay, like I'm ready to learn what I got to do. Don't sit here and not be prepared and mess around and drown because you were just too doggone slow at the draw. This is not the time to be sluggish. This is the time to say, okay, I'm gonna make me a decision. I know I do need solar panels. I do. He said, you need solar panels like me. Oh, you got solar panels? That is so cool. The solar people keep calling. I think I'm gonna call them today.
You down in the south too, man. You got to take advantage.
Listen.
Down there.
Absolutely. So y'all listen, Kurt, thank you so much for jumping on. Major sauce, major value. Powerful today. Guys, thank you so much for jumping on. Get back with the person that invited you on here. You guys have a great day and God bless. Bye-bye.